Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Above the Ring. I'm your host, Sam the SLB. Alongside me today, as always, the man behind the Twitter, the other half of this operation. It is Scott. Hey, buddy, how we doing? We need a nickname for you.
I know. Everybody else has nicknames. Like when we go on our buddies over Back to the Ring, everybody has nicknames, and I'm just like, well, I'm just Scott. That's plain Jane guy. It's all right.
Yeah, but sometimes those are the best. You know, Daniel Bryan's a pretty straight name. Bryan Danielson, whatever you want to refer to him as.
We can ask CM Punk. He's calling him by both names, so it is what it is. It's fine.
Yeah. I can understand the confusion, though. But, guys, we have something special coming up with Back to the Ring. Keep an eye out for them on their podcast. Make sure you listen to them when they drop theirs, as well as do not forget to listen to Raw Review and SmackDown Study by Scott that drops on Tuesdays and Saturdays, respectively. And, I don't know, some other things Scott has planned we've been talking about.
It's very true. I feel like it's time to set a new narrative, Sam. I feel like, since I am the WWE guy of this, this group, and
Mansur.
even going back to when we were with the guys with Back to the Ring, I feel like it's time to split off NXT. I feel like I can give them more. I'm trying to think of the best word for this.
Attention?
Yeah, I thought of attention, but I was trying to think of some better adjectives for it. But it is what it is. But yes, starting this week, every Wednesday, you guys look out for another podcast from Above the Ring. The NXT narrative will be going live. I did a special program maybe a couple of months ago. Sam and I were not able to get together for our Above the Ring episodes, and I figure that since also NXT's on a Tuesday, cover it, live tweet it and everything else. I'm talking about it when we record and then it comes out on a Monday. I feel like it's been way too long. I feel like, the news might be a little old by then. So what to freshen things up? Give you guys my immediate thoughts right after the show, and then you guys can listen to it on Wednesday morning. So now we have all the podcasts coming out. So please make sure you listen.
Yes, we will not stop. And maybe someday I'll be a sociopath and we'll do New Japan coverage daily. Because New Japan, that's why. We'll be talking about them really shortly. The G1 Climax coming to a close very shortly already. Time flies when you're having fun. First and foremost, I do want to mention, speaking of New Japan, we have somebody who Scott's a big fan of, going over there starting in November. Buddy Matthews, other known as Buddy Murphy, will be making his New Japan Strong debut.
That's going to be fantastic. I cannot wait for that.
He'll be appearing at the Battle in the Valley event on November 13th. It's almost like something else is going on that night, Scott. Hope he's all in full gear for that event, though. Looking forward to that. I know he was, Scott paying attention more to the product than I do, would argue that he was a very underutilized talent.
Absolutely. Yeah. Him and Mustafa Ali had probably one of the greatest matches I've ever seen, and it was on 205 Live. And yet Murphy was released, and Mustafa Ali is in the middle of fighting with Mansur. So, guys, get your shit together.
Let me ask that. You mentioned Mansur's name. I know he's coming up at Crown Jewel this week.
Correct.
How often is he used when there's not a Saudi Arabia show going on?
Recently, a lot. Him and Mustafa Ali were a tag team until this past week. It's kind of funny. Mansur is trying to do everything by the books, and Mustafa Ali is trying to cut every corner possible. And he's trying to teach that to Mansur, and Mansur refuses to do it. And Mustafa's just pissed off about it. And it seems like the team's done, and now they have a one-on-one match at Crown Jewel, which, unless you haven't seen any Crown Jewel events, Mansur's going to win this in a landslide. Because
hometown hero.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's been the case every time he's wrestled in a Crown Jewel event.
Correct.
Hopefully this one goes well.
The card actually looks pretty stacked. I'm actually excited about it. I know obviously neither one of us are going to be covering it because it's going to be happening on a Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern. So both of us are working on normal jobs. So it is what it is. I might do a special like cover event afterwards. So take a look out Friday morning. You might have yourself a Crown Jewel review show.
Yes, that'll be I don't know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. We'll see how maybe he'll be too focused on the Sox at that point.
Oh my God, I know. God.
Yes, it is playoff season. Good news, the Sox and the Bruins both won yesterday, actually.
I know. I saw.
It is a good day in Beantown. However, you know it's not a good day for people who wear shoes. Inexpensive shoes, may that. I try not to cover anything that's gossipy, but there are some things you just can't ignore, and some things you just got to be like, okay, I'm fascinated by this. Scott, let's discuss this shoe debacle we have right now.
Well, if I'm remembering correctly, I believe it was Top Dollar from Hit Row made some comment about the Young Bucks shoes. I don't think he actually mentioned them by name, but it was pretty obvious. And talking about, I believe it was, it doesn't matter like how much money you spend on shoes, like they're terrible in fashion, et cetera, something to that extent. And the internet literally just exploded with like, obviously there's already a divide between the WWE stands and the AEW stands. And this was just like, oh, let's pour all the gasoline on the fire. And I remember I woke up, I hop on Twitter, and everybody's talking about shoes. I'm like, what the is going on? So I'm just searching through everything, and then I find it. And I even made a post about it, and somebody's like, oh, you should ask the Young Bucks in Top Dollar about this. And I'm just like, oh. Find it, and I'm just like, oh, shit. Okay. So he woke up and chose violence this morning, and let's go. Yeah, it was I think like the Young Bucks fired back with their new bio that they do every 5 minutes, talking about they spend more money on shoes than NXT has on wardrobe. And I'm just like, oh Christ, here we go. Yeah, it was just insane. And I think just recently, probably on a taped edition of Rampage, we'll probably see next week, Max Caster of the Acclaimed taking more shots at Top Dollar and NXT. So yeah. Fridays are getting interesting.
Yes, it is. Especially we got a lot to talk about in regards to that. So we went head to head for the first time. AEW went head to head with one of WWE's flagship shows, SmackDown. Yep. I forgot who initiated this first. If it was WWE saying that they were going to have a half hour extra.
Yeah, this was a supersized edition of SmackDown on FS1 because the Red Sox and actually, was it the Red Sox and Astros playing? Yeah, game 1. So baseball takes precedent. Obviously, I can understand that, but being on FS1, they decided, hey, let's make it 2.5 hours, and it cuts obviously a half hour into Rampage, where your last events were Becky Lynch versus Sasha Banks, and the contract signing between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. And WWE counters with CM Punk versus Matt Sydal. And they decide that, hey, we're going to have a YouTube buy-in show starting at 9 o'clock. So the last hour and a half was all contested stuff. It's a good time.
This was fascinating, to say the least, Scott. This was interesting. I know Rampage didn't do as well. People... oh no, SmackDown's gonna beat Rampage. It's first and foremost, it's fucking Friday,
right? And
it's World Series playoffs.
Yep.
first of all, breathe. If this was during the week, okay, cool. We can make a little more of an argument. I will give more leeway to any Friday contestant. However, that being said, Rampage didn't do great numbers, but SmackDown was not as great either. It was only, I think, 200,000 above, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, it's on FS1, and FS1 is not in as many homes as Fox itself. So I knew there would be a drop. I didn't see the actual numbers, but yeah, I'm not surprised that Rampage was closer, but it is, yeah. If SmackDown was on Fox, I'm pretty sure they would have pulled in 2.5 mil. Also with the MLB playoffs not happening, if this was a normal Friday, SmackDown would have just walked all over them. But obviously with the playoffs and with it being on a secondary network, it's not surprising that it's a little closer. So I would say this is a win for AEW too. Just being able to hang in with them there.
Yeah, and both products were really good.
They were.
I didn't watch SmackDown. I know Scott. Obviously, you did. You would tell me it was an incredible show.
It was. It was.
Also,
it's SmackDown's been definitely the constant of good shows. It's definitely their A show, and this was definitely another good episode.
Well, before we get into that, I'm going to talk about quickly the G1 Climax. We're going to hop right into our normal weekly content. G1 Climax 31 come to a close. This week we had nights. Sorry.
During this last week, I think it was night 14 B block and night 15 A block.
And night 16 B block.
Yeah, so, by the time this comes out, what was it?
When we drop this, night 17 A block final will have happened.
Correct. So we'll cover that next week along with the B block final.
Yes.
And the actual winner.
I'm excited to see who's going to the Tokyo Dome this year. Right. So for the tournament, we had Tama Tonga defeat Taichi, Sanada defeat Yoshihashi, Okada defeat Chase Owens, Evil defeated Haruki Goto, and Jeff Cobb defeated Hiroshi Tanahashi. Night 15 A block, Tomohiro Ishii defeated Yujiro Takahashi, Kenta defeated Tangaloa, Zack Sabre Jr. defeated Toriyano by submission, and Shingo Takagi defeated the Great Khan. In night 16, we had Chase Owens defeat Taichi, Sanada defeat Haruki Goto, Hiroshi Tanahashi defeat Yoshihashi, Jeff Cobb defeated Evil, and Tama Tonga. This is what I want to watch. Tama Tonga defeating Kazuchika Okada. A 25-minute bout.
That's a big dub.
That's a big W. Not that Tama Tonga's a slouch himself.
But it's Okada.
It is Okada. It is Okada. I need to want matches like this are the ones I want to, go and watch. Yeah, we're getting close. As of right now, I'm looking at the number one spots. There are 4 people in the A block tied for first, for obvious reasons.
That's insane. Yeah, seriously.
With Naito being out.
I know.
Jeff Cobb on top on the B block with 16. However, when I first saw this, Zack Sabre Jr. and Jeff Cobb are number one on both on the Wikipedia page. And I'm sitting here thinking to myself, could you imagine if this G1 Climax final, and I cannot be, this would have to be the first one because Kenny Omega, I think, was the first the first Gaijin. Is that the term I'm looking for?
I believe so.
The first Gaijin wrestler to win the G1 Climax. So imagine this might be the first ever Gaijin final if it's Junior and Cobb.
That's true. Yeah, that would be insane. But night 18 B block, the final match is Okada versus Cobb. So if Okada wins, how does that work? Like, what's the tiebreaker there?
Another match.
And another match. Oh god, that'd be insane too. And look at this A block final. You have let's see. I was just looking at it. You have Kenta versus Ibushi.
Mm-hmm.
So right there, that's points. Zack Sabre Jr. is taking on Tangaloa. So you could probably say Sabre's going to win that one. And then, let's see.
I got Yujiro Takahashi taking on Shingo Takagi. I would say Takagi on that one.
So, I mean, we could end up with some ties for first there too. We could have extra matches, or do they do like fatal four ways if there's ties for the top?
That's a good question. I don't know. We're getting close. We only have, what do we say, 3 nights left?
Yep.
3 nights left. I'm curious. It's can't come soon enough, Scott. This cannot come soon enough.
I know.
There's got to be a tiebreaker. I'm looking at this right now. Let's see. They're A block. So it's Zack Sabre Jr., Kota Ibushi, Shingo Takagi, and Kenta are all tied for first.
Mm-hmm.
Kota and Kenta are wrestling, so that knocks down one. Shingo is taking on. Shingo could lose that one and knock him down.
Right.
And Zack's taking on Tangaloa. So actually, this might play out well. So you're already going to knock somebody out.
Yep.
With the Kota and Kenta one. I don't know. I want to see what they do here. Logically speaking, you would want Kota or Kenta to win, and then Zack and Shingo to lose.
Right.
To get the top. But I don't think that's going to happen with all the competitors we're mentioning.
Right.
But,
oh my God. It'll be fun to cover this next week. I'm excited to see how all this turns out.
You realize we're less than 3 months away from the Tokyo Dome?
I know.
Gosh. My brother in the other room doesn't know what's about to happen. I'm back to Florida, that month. What I'm going to be doing for 2 days. It's going to be a blast. Anyways, let's get right into it, Scott. Let's kick off our, last NXT co-discussion prior to the narrative going live. Get right into it.
All right. So NXT for October 12th, kicking off with a pretty hot match. Tommaso Ciampa taking on Joe Gacy. And the caveat here was if Joe Gacy won, he would be added to the Halloween Havoc match between Ciampa and Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship. Now, Joe Gacy continuing to be that interesting superstar. His gimmick has definitely taken the internet by storm with mostly negative only for, the obvious reasons. But there are some people that are enjoying it just because it's just pissing so many people off. And I'm on the fence with it, honestly. Like, I enjoy the fact that he's so devoted to it. The reason why I don't like it is because he reminds me so much of Kevin Owens, and I know Kevin Owens' contract is almost up. So if he's going to play the replacement game, I'm not going to like that at all. So, but Ciampa does us all a favor, takes care of Gacy, so it will be a 1-on-1 match come Halloween Havoc. We move on then to Zion Quinn taking on and defeating Malik Blade. Zion Quinn really kind of taking NXT, I don't know by storm, but he's definitely making his presence known. Before they went to NXT 2.0, I think he was on the show maybe once or twice, getting a big victory over Boa. So kind of put him on the map. And ever since, he's just been quietly beating everybody that he's had to face so far. So he's definitely doing a more of a Samoan-esque style gimmick. And I'm enjoying it. I feel like he's treading, not really treading water, but his character's not going anywhere right now. So I just want to see what they continue to do. If they want him to continue moving up the chain, or if he's just gonna be there until, you know, something falls in his lap when it comes to a feud. So we'll see. After that, Ivy Nile making her in-ring debut for the Diamond Mine, taking on and defeating Valentina Feroz. If I butchered the last name, I apologize. But Ivy looked fantastic. She is a product of the Titan games, which I actually did watch. So the moment I saw her on TV, I'm like, I know this girl. Where have I seen her from? Then they explained it. I was like, son of a bitch, there it is. She fits in with Diamond Mine perfectly. And I love the fact that, you know, a lot of people just kind of discarded Diamond Mine like they were dead because, you know, Tyler Rust gets released, Roddy's wife gets released before they even debut. And, you know, a lot of people thought they were dead in the water. But I severely disagree. Diamond Mine is definitely around, and they're not going anywhere. Speaking of, the next match rolled right into it. Julius Creed of the Diamond Mine had his singles debut versus Ike Manjiro, who, I'm not going to lie, I love Ike Manjiro. His attitude is so infectious. And he's so bright with his jackets and just his style. It's, what was it? They had a promo, a vignette for him either last week or this week, talking about his style. And I don't remember what it was, but the line they dropped was fantastic, and I'm kind of upset with myself because I don't remember it off the top of my head. But Julius Creed defeating Jiro. Julius looks really good as a singles competitor, so he could be one to watch out for after Diamond Mine eventually breaks up. But for now, I think him and his brother are gonna wreak havoc in that tag team division and maybe even the singles division. So we'll see. After that, we had Kyle O'Reilly and his tag partner Von Wagner taking on and actually defeating Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland. It's an interesting dynamic with Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner. Obviously, Kyle being, you know, that bitter person because everything happening with Undisputed Era, and he doesn't want to trust anybody, et cetera, et cetera. And Vaughn, you know, just seemingly comes out of nowhere and helps him, you know, after Pete and Ridge are attacking him and whatnot. Part of me feels that Vaughn eventually will turn on Kyle because that just seems to be the obvious choice. Will make Von Wagner a bigger name to go with his big stature as it is. But I don't know. It's weird. Like, since Undisputed Era has stopped, I find myself less excited about seeing what Kyle O'Reilly does. I don't know. It's just, he just doesn't click with me like he did when he was with Undisputed Era. I don't know why. Like, I'm not really digging the cool Kyle gimmick that he has now. What do you think about that?
Of what? Sorry, I like blanked for a moment.
The Kyle O'Reilly gimmick, his cool gimmick, and, you know, not really flowing with. I don't know. It's just, for me, it's not really clicking.
No, it just, his gimmick, and I'll say this, like, when it wasn't, there were bits of it with Adam Cole. I'm like, this feels a little forced. But it kind of worked with Adam Cole because, you know,
because it's Adam Cole. Baby.
No, it worked because there was a feud there. You know, they were part of a faction. He couldn't trust, you know, his brother. Da 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 da.
Yep.
And now he's just kind of like
there.
And yeah. I love Kyle O'Reilly. He's great. He's
a great technician. I agree with you 100%. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's just not clicking.
They need to figure out what they're going to do with him before they decide to can him next.
Oh my God, I know.
You know, I think we had this conversation last episode.
I believe so. Either that or the one prior. Yeah, talk about which former member of Undisputed Era will be the next one to get canned.
Yeah. So Kyle has a lot of promise, but I don't think they know what to do with him yet.
I agree.
So we're gonna have to wait and see what happens there. I mean, maybe it's his time to go up. I don't want to say that because I think that's almost a death sentence, but maybe he might be better off on the main roster.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean,
that would definitely be a good choice at this point, because I feel like he's kind of run his course in NXT, and I kind of feel that way about a few people, but I know there's a few of them that are saying they're never going up. They're just going to stay in NXT until it folds or they retire. So I'm like, all right, well, it is what it is. But I think Kyle going up might actually do him some good. If he goes to SmackDown, he'll definitely be used properly. If he goes to Raw, well, yeah, we'll be seeing his best in future endeavors within a year probably.
Fantasy booking. Let's fantasy book this for a minute, Scott.
All right.
He goes to SmackDown. Who's on SmackDown right now? Isn't that where Seth Rollins is? Could you imagine a feud between Kyle O'Reilly and...
He was, but now he's on Raw.
Oh, they moved to Raw. So I bet you everyone I'm about to name is on Raw then. Because I think he'd be great against Kevin Owens. Or he'd be great against Sami Zayn. Or, I don't know where he might be able to feud with Roman. I don't know if that would fit.
Roman would be interesting.
And Shinsuke?
I think Shinsuke would be good. Cesaro, I think, would be another excellent feud. Trying to think who else. I mean, there are some people there. What? We'll see. We'll see what happens with his NXT run. But getting back to the show, and Sam can go back to his previous obligations. No, I'm just kidding. Duke Hudson taking on and defeating Grayson Waller. Really not much to say here. Duke Hudson is, I don't know. I've seen some people reference him as just being like created wrestler for WWE 2K19, 2K20, and I'm like, all right, I can definitely see that. Grayson Waller, he's trying. I really don't have any negative things to say about him, but I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just a lot of these young talent. I'm still waiting for that moment where they click with me, anyways. I'm sure a lot of people, they're still big fans, and I'm all for that. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. After that, we had Indy Hartwell and I'm gonna butcher this name, and I feel bad for it.
Persia Parada?
I think it's Persia Parada's the last name. Yeah. Taking on and defeating Saray and Amari Miller. This match kind of seemed to just come out of nowhere. I don't actually remember there being any talk of this match actually happening. But it's funny, obviously, ever since Indy got married with Dexter Lumis, she's been pretty much unstoppable. And the things that she does with Dexter and the stuff that she talks about with with her friends and about what she's done and with Dexter, and it's kind of hilarious to watch. Indy Hartwell's a pervert after our own hearts, so. And then our main event was Isaiah Swerve Scott taking on Santos Escobar for the North American title. Now, obviously, with Hit Row being called up to SmackDown, everybody's like, oh, Santos is going to win. This is a great way for Swerve to go out, et cetera, et cetera. Well, it was a fantastic match. But Sam, they swerved us. And I mean that with every pun intended. Swerve Scott actually gets the win. But another swerve. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams come out to the ring. Carmelo attacks Swerve after the match, cashes in his guaranteed title contract, and beats Swerve for the North American Championship. Carmelo Hayes, your new NXT North American champion. What a way to finish off this show. And I love the fact that they've pulled the trigger on Carmelo Hayes this soon.
I'm excited. I think we've talked about him a long time. Even when he was Christian Casanova, he had a lot of promise. Love what they're doing with him. I want to see him go to the moon.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is fantastic. The mellow age has begun, and I feel like NXT is going on they're going in a good direction.
It is now the Mellow Yellow brand.
Oh, Jesus. Fantastic soda, by the way. Not a lot of people give that love, but I will give that all the love.
It's good soda. It's good soda, but there's copyright there, so they can't call it that.
That's true.
Well, like we said, starting next week, next Thursday, you'll be this Thursday.
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yeah. Wow. I'm totally off.
And I do it too. Like NXT, I keep thinking it's on Wednesday still. Like, no. They lost that war day, so they moved over a day.
So, starting Wednesdays, you'll be able to hear Scott give the NXT narrative. I will still, we will still do our takeover bits and covering that information. That being said, let's hop over to a brand that we're still covering. We haven't been paying attention to, but next week is very big. This week. Go home show, Scott. Go home show for Bound for Glory.
Yes, sir.
Gonna, talk about last week's episode first and foremost. Kicking it off, we had the X Division title tournament between El Phantasmo, Rohit Raju, and Willie Mack, with ELP getting the win. Right. Savannah Evans taking on Lady Frost, with Evans defeating Frost. VSK taking on Rich Swann, with Swann getting the win there. Chris Bay taking on Chris Sabin. Battle of the Chris's, with Sabin defeated Bay. And there was a battle royale. Winner enters, call your shot. 20th runner-up enters first. Wait a minute. Battle royale to determine the number 20th entrant in the call your shot gauntlet match at Bound for Glory, featuring both men and women.
All right.
In the match, we had Moose, W. Morrissey, Laredo Kid, Raj Singh, Brian Myers, Rachel Ellering, Alicia Edwards, Matthew Reinhold, Falaba Hernandez, Kimberly, Brandy Lauren, Jake Something, Mammoth Fulton, Ace Austin, Black Taurus, Matt Cardona, and Chris Sabin. Wow, that all rolled off the tongue perfect.
It did.
And of course, none other than the man himself, Morrissey, got the win here. So he will be in that gauntlet match.
That's big.
And then they had a Bound for Glory summit between Christian Cage and Josh Alexander, which is interesting because Christian is injured right now.
Yeah, he has some neck issues.
Unless that was to write him off so he could kind of focus on Impact for this pay-per-view.
That's possible. That's definitely possible.
Or he's actually injured and he's going to wrestle through this match and drop the belt to Josh Alexander.
Which I think he should do anyways, because Impact needs an Impact wrestler to be its champion.
Yeah, and Josh Alexander, I think we've said since, not that he was ever bad with Ethan Page. The problem is when you do have the mouth, the ego as your mouthpiece.
It's true.
It's tough to, they love the North. Probably one of my favorite tag teams of the decade, of the last decade.
Yeah, the North was really, really good.
But I think it's time for Josh Alexander to get that title and be the man in Impact.
I agree, 100%.
So
I did also see that since they're going to Vegas for Bound for Glory, they had an emotional goodbye to the Swingers Palace, which I saw the clip with Chris Sabin, and I was laughing and almost crying at the same time. It's just so. I'm sad that I don't get a chance to watch Impact Live anymore. But the Swingers Palace stuff that I've seen was always top quality shit.
Johnny Springer, man, he's a monster.
He is.
The swing daddy. Also, actually, now I think about news, AC Romero got released from Impact.
Correct. Yeah, ever since Triple XL broke up, from what I've been seeing, they really haven't been doing much with him. So I believe he actually requested his release, and it was finally granted to him. So I know when we were just at the Chaotic Wrestling show, he was actually there as part of the unit, that faction over there, and it's nice to see him continuing to just not miss a beat in the independent scene.
He felt, and again, I understand TV works different than independent shows, but he felt more dominant in the unit than he did Triple XL.
Absolutely.
Because I
they
don't
were
know.
more of a comedy team.
Yeah. And he just felt like he felt massive. Like he felt like,
like
you know,
a monster.
AC.
Yeah.
And I like that. That being said, we're going to go into the real battle this weekend, Friday night. And again, like I said, go listen to Scott's SmackDown study, or don't be a mark and find last week's episode of SmackDown and watch it. Because these shows went head to head. And like I said, I still need to watch SmackDown, and I've heard nothing but great things. But also, AEW didn't not deliver either.
True.
So we're going to kick it off. We kick it off with my girl, Ty Conti, taking on Santana Garrett. Good solid opener. With, if I'm not mistaken, Ty getting the win again.
Yes.
She's unstoppable. I need her in the title picture, even though
I believe she is the number 2 ranked. So it's there. They actually had an interesting conversation. I actually watched the buy-in last night. Obviously because I was covering SmackDown, didn't get a chance to watch it until yesterday. But when I watched it, they made, I believe it was Excalibur made a very interesting observation. Even though Ty is number 2 in the women's rankings, she could either set her sights on Britt Baker or set her sights on becoming the first TBS champion.
That might be a good belt for her to hold.
Yeah. It's a very, see, a lot of people want to shit all over the TBS title, but I like the fact that the women now have a secondary title to play with. So they may feel like they're maybe not up to, the DMD level, but maybe they can go find the secondary title. Maybe this will be the intercontinental title of women's division wrestling. You have those workhorse people that go for this title, and then they work their way up to facing off against the major champion.
Yeah, because we don't get that a lot. We don't get a lot of. There's only one women's title, and it's okay if you're not going for that title, then you're just there. This gives them a chance to kind of throw their weight around a little more.
Right, exactly.
But following that, we had an awesome bout. Lee Moriarty taking on Bobby Fish, another flawless talent. With Lee Moriarty actually getting signed after this match.
Correct.
Bobby Fish winning. This is one of those things. Lee looked great.
He did.
Looked great. And Bobby, he fought 2 nights in a row, and both of his matches are incredible. Yes. He might be one of the better known people, more well known than most of the other talent, sure, but he might be the underdog of this weekend.
Yeah.
Between this match and the other match.
Yeah.
Which the other match that he was in,
Jesus Christ,
also wrestled against somebody that same night to end the buy-in. I would argue, hands down, this was the match of the week. Bryan Danielson taking on Minoru Suzuki.
I will say when I watched this, it was probably around 11:30 at night, and getting a little sleepy. Start watching the match. That first knockout shot that Suzuki dropped Daniels, I was just like, oh, okay. Because I had seen the clip on Friday, but watching it in the match, I was like, all right. But then as this match continued, I was like, I found myself completely wide awake by the time this was over. And I was like jumping off of my computer chair, like for some of these hits.
I had to, sometimes I'll be on my phone, I'll be texting or whatnot. I think most of us do that. I had to put my phone down through this whole match. I could not keep my eyes off. I couldn't take my eyes off the TV. First and foremost, Minoru Suzuki looks incredible, especially when he's 50, pushing 50. And then Bryan Danielson. I get something to say after we talk about the match with Bobby Fish too.
Okay.
But wow, this felt like a New Japan match. I need him wrestling in New Japan. It's funny. So I actually met somebody. I went to do my food shopping today. I met somebody who saw my AEW hoodie I had on.
Nice.
And like, oh yeah, I can't get into it. Man, it's not for everybody. He goes, yeah, Daniel Bryan. I don't like Daniel Bryan. Didn't like him in WWE. I don't care for him in AEW either. And I'm like, I didn't want to say anything. I'm trying to get my food shopping done. I have a podcast to record.
Right.
But I was like, I can understand not liking like Daniel Bryan maybe in WWE for whatever reason. You know, whether you think he got, the shit end of the stick with certain things or whatnot, or you didn't like his mic skills. This match was just flawless.
Oh my God.
Like,
it was brutal. It was beautiful. It was just, we need more of these types of matches. Now, I know it might not be for everybody who just sits there and be like, go ahead and hit me. Like, it wasn't a choreographed match. It was more like a fight. And
it was
I actually appreciate that, not seeing it as often as we probably should.
It was like a striker technician match.
Yes.
And it was great. And it's one of those things you got to wait. You got to earn it. Yeah, not everyone's got to be the Bucks or Jurassic Express or whatnot or Lucha Brothers. That's fine. But I need these matches too. And this one, I was just like foaming at the mouth, like rabid. I think my favorite part of this whole thing is Suzuki had Danielson on the ground and he was bouncing off the rope and kicking him in the chest. And Danielson would pop up and his arms are fisting like he's kind of like hulking up a little bit, and he gets up to a sitting position and Suzuki hits him again. He falls down, he does it again. But that last one, he hits him, Daniel's all the way down on his back, and he starts to get up, and then all of a sudden his strength just fades and he just falls back down. It's just like stuff like that. It's those little extra tidbits that just is I love it so much. This is a match of the year contender for me. This is going to probably be in my top 10. This is a rewatch. And I know from my understanding, around this same time on SmackDown was the tag match, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was the Usos versus the Street Profits in a street fight for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. And that match was ridiculous too.
So this is the excitement that I love, where it's like, this was better than that. That was, but no. When you have two really good products and you got to be like, what do I watch right now? What?
There were a lot of people posting on Twitter of them watching one show on the television, one show on their laptop or their cell phone or their iPad, tablets, whatever. And I'm just like, I wish I could do that, but I need to focus on one or the other and then go back and watch I can't do both at the same time.
Scott's gonna be out there wheeling out his CRTV. It's like, it's 1997 all over again.
Yeah, pretty much.
But it didn't stop there. So right after that, they kicked off the official hour of Rampage with CM Punk taking on Matt Sydal. And wow, another great match between, with CM Punk. And Matt's good too. I've always liked Matt. But this one, again, there's a reason they signed these people. And Matt Sydal showed that he can go with Punk.
Yes.
So these two matches back to back, if there's any two matches from this weekend to really watch from the AEW side, I would argue it might be these two.
I agree. No, 100%.
So following that, we had the Bunny taking on Ruby Soho, with Ruby getting the win against the Bunny, but then, if I'm not mistaken, Penelope Ford came out with the brass knuckles.
Yep.
Clocked her. I'm curious to see where this feud goes. Curious to see.
I like the fact that, for a while, Penelope Ford was just kind of like in the wind because, her boyfriend's gone, or her husband's gone, injured. So she's kind of just like there. And then all of a sudden she starts, being friendly with the Bunny. And now it feels like maybe she'll get pulled into the Hardy family office, which I think would be great. Maybe even bring her husband with her. I think that would be another great talent for Hardy to have under his roof. But I like that they're keeping her involved. Her in-ring skills, not the best. She's working on it, so I'm not gonna shit on her for it. But as a character, Penelope Ford is all there. It works perfectly.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the bunny, they just meld really well. It's like
they do.
It's like Anna Jay and Ty Conti.
Except the bunny and Penelope Ford are psychopaths.
Yeah, and actually Ty and Anna can both wrestle. Not to knock on Penelope, but
everybody loves TJ. Everybody loves him.
TJ's incredible. So, main event. This again, another shocker. The Inner Circle taking on the Men of the Year and Junior Dos Santos. This was really good.
I was wondering how Junior Dos Santos would look in the ring. He looked at it from an MMA style, obviously not really a wrestler, obviously. I particularly enjoyed the part where it was him versus Jake Hager. I was like, all right, these boys are gonna go MMA style on us, and they did a little bit, had some strikes in the corners and whatnot. So I'd like to see those two go at it more often. And I know there's going to be a potential match later on that we'll talk about once we start talking about Dynamite.
Yeah, but this was cool because at the end with Scorpio Sky pinning Jericho, if I'm not mistaken, we got a reunited Inner Circle with Proud and Powerful Santana and Ortiz coming out. Who thought in 2021 Inner Circle was going to be over as the
right, as the faces of the yeah, I know. God. And it's funny because, even though they won against the Pinnacle, they kind of just fell apart a little bit, which was weird.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think that, they'd be closest after winning a feud, but it kind of broke them up a little bit. Santana Ortiz trying to, take care of FTR and whatnot, but having them come back for this, I think is perfect.
It's good, and we'll talk about that when we hop over to Dynamite, which is now. Kicking off the night was Malachi Black taking on Dante Martin. They are so invested in Martin. Let me tell you,
I love it.
Even though Malachi Black, he won via Black Mass. Really, I love how seldom they use a Malachi. He's a threat, and he only comes out very seldom. But Dante is he's like trudging along, especially with Leo Rush as his manager, and that little promo at the end where Leo's like, he lost on his own accord and he knows it.
Right.
But now you have a new tag team partner.
Yep.
So, ooh.
Before we jump ahead to the next match,
yeah,
I wanna bring this up. I don't know if you caught this. When this match ended, like Dante, he brought it to Malachi Black. And I think Black realized he escaped here. Black walking up the ramp, stops, turns around, looks at Dante Martin, and does like a head nod, and then continues to walk on.
I did see that.
I was like, a little bit of respect. I like this. Does this maybe mean, like, of course, my brain started going. I'm like, does this mean maybe he'll try to bring him into the House of Black? Can you imagine a heel like powerhouse Dante Martin?
Ooh, you're looking at some. That'd be
long-term storytelling.
That whole locker room sees potential in that kid, and I'm behind. I'm behind him all the way.
Absolutely.
Following that, we had that little bout between American Top Team and the Inner Circle.
Mm-hmm.
Which next week I think we're getting a 10-man tag.
Either that or Dan Lambert's going to give the stipulations for said match.
Yes, which if that's the case, I'm assuming that's going to happen at Full Gear.
Probably,
especially with less than a month away from that. Whew, get excited.
Very excited for this.
Following that, we had Lucha Brothers taking on and defending the AAA Tag Team Champions against Andrade El Idio's tag team of his choice. What was it, Los Frogs or something like that?
Los Super Runners, which are the Super Frogs. And as soon as I saw their outfits, I was dying. I'm like, this is great. And Excalibur's like, I have no idea who these guys are. And
yeah,
I'm just like, wait a minute.
Punk was like, "That's FTR."
I know. He just come out and just says it. I'm like, God damn it, Punk.
I was kind of like, at first I was a little disappointed. And I'm like, damn it, I thought it'd be somebody exciting. Not that I don't like FTR, but then when I realized, yeah, it's FTR, and I'm like, okay. And then not only do we get FTR taking on Lucha Brothers, but they won the AAA titles.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Now we keep talking about swerves, but my God, like I did not expect that. But honestly, if you think about it now, FTR has won every major tag team championship in North America.
Mm-hmm. Except for, have they won the CMML tags?
Probably not. So
but yeah,
I guess that would be. But I mean, AAA I think is the biggest one in Mexico.
Yeah, so we'll take that. We'll take that win.
So that means now they've had both. They've had NXT, they've had Raw, SmackDown, AEW, and now AAA. So 5 major tag team championships. FTR has held them all.
It's incredible. And I understand why they did this. A lot of people weren't really fond of it. AAA is the brand that actually is no longer, they've removed all content of theirs in the States.
Yes.
So if this match had happened at Triple Mania or AAA somewhere in Mexico, even like the Kenny Omega Andrade match, I had to go digging to find that match.
Right.
So you cannot find that in the States. There's no American commentary, English commentary. Sorry. So I'm excited that they did this here, and means FTR is going to Mexico for a bit.
Yeah, I'm all right with that.
I'm cool. I want to see who they wrestle over there, because we also know we have Impact people over there.
That's true too.
So the at some point they're gonna make their way over the Pacific to Japan, and FTR taking on the Gorillas of Destiny.
Oh my God!
Happen. Sweating. Following that, we had a quick squash match. Jon Moxley taking on Wheeler Yuta. I love this because Moxley comes out, kicks the crap out of Wheeler, pins him, and then walks right back. And not even through the front either, just like the back door.
Yeah. Like he couldn't be bothered for this match.
And Orange Cassidy, he kind of stood there looking, and you could tell they were hinting at Moxley and Cassidy.
Yes.
That's if that is going to be a full gear. And there was something, I haven't brought it up because rumor has it somebody accidentally leaked Tony Khan holding a notebook that had the Full Gear card on it.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing something about that. Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about anything that might not happen. So, I don't know. I want to see. I'm super excited. So also, we had the Young Bucks and Adam Cole take on Defeat the Dark Order. Prior to that match, actually prior to Moxley's match, we had that little promo, I think, where Jungle Boy, they kicked the crap out of Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
So, this match happened. This was a good match. This was good. Obviously, I think people forget how good. Well, Evil Uno is great. Alex Reynolds is great. Excuse me. But also Johnny Hungy, Johnny Silver, friends. Oh man. I love that whole bit where we got the Mr. Sacco spot with Evil Uno. I need to
go back and see how Mick Foley felt about that, because he's always talking online, so that'd be interesting to see.
You had the moment where that happened. They took the Jordan off, which is funny, and then they had the part where they pulled the Bucks when they were doing the running the ropes.
Yes.
And Alex and John did it, and they did the kiss thing, and Adam realized, wait a minute.
I love how he's looking forward. And they're kissing him, and then he realizes that something's wrong. Like, wait, do you? It's like, Adam, do you have intimate? Like, how do you notice? Like, is your peripheral that good, or do you just know how Nick, how the Young Bucks lips feel on your cheeks?
Well, I think maybe that, but also I was thinking when you think of John Silver, how bushy his beard is.
Oh, that's true.
That would have been my giveaway, but this match was great. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Jungle Boy actually came out after this match.
Yes.
After the Elite.
He went right after Adam Cole. I love that feud is still going.
And he pulled out a chair.
Right.
Which he doesn't do. And for me, that almost feels like it's almost initiating hey, we might have to have a street fight, you and I.
I mean, as much as I love Adam Cole, I need Jungle Boy to beat him. Because I think that Jungle Boy is at that level. He's at the precipice of being that next level. Mm-hmm. Beating somebody at the caliber of Adam Cole will immediately teleport him up a level.
Yep. Agreed. Following that, we had, and anyone who saw my tweet, I apologize, where MJF comes out all dressed up with his, in his attire, and I'm like, oh yeah, we got an MJF match. Forget about this. And then I was like, they're like, there's no match. I'm like, wait a minute. Was there no match? There's no match? What do you mean there's no match? And then he does his whole spiel. And it's funny. So my brother's watching, and I go, this is the best guy on the microphone. And he's listening, and I'm dying. This is, again, MJF is like, leads the promo class 101.
Oh, my God.
So he's talking, and I love, he's like, what do you mean he got attacked? Oh, no. Wardlow, why don't you bring a ref out here? And then, I mean, we all knew what was about to happen. You know what was going to happen. It starts snowing in Miami, and it don't snow in Miami. Sting comes out, and I think we're getting... I don't know if we're getting Wardlow taking on Sting or MJF taking on Sting, but I want it.
Oh, my God.
I want it.
Can you imagine Sting versus MJF at Full Gear?
What year is it, Scott?
I know.
What year is it?
I know. People hate MJF as it is. Imagine him taking out Sting. Like, this might get to, like, 1980s hatred of people, like, trying to kill him, like, literally.
Yeah. I mean,
we haven't had a heel this bad, and I mean bad as in, like, hated in such a long time, and it's so refreshing to see.
I look at, again, when I was little, I remember people like Kurt Angle or JBL or even Eddie Guerrero when he was like a heel. You know, as a little kid, it frustrates you, but then you realize they're doing their job.
Exactly.
They're doing their job. And MJF, even as an adult, it's like, some days you're like, what the fuck? Nope, you got me. You're getting me.
Yep.
You're pulling me. The only person I can think of who really is really good at that is The Miz.
Yes, when The Miz is full heel, absolutely. Because he's that combination of a cocky and slimy heel that you literally just want to see him punched in the face, like repeatedly, on hours on end. And then he goes off and does shit like he's doing on Dancing with the Stars, and you're just like, Miz is the best. I want him to win everything.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Following that, we had our women's match, which most of it was picture-in-picture. Penelope Ford taking on Kiera Hogan. Wasn't a bad match, I believe. Who won this? Was it Kiera Hogan?
No.
It was Penelope Ford.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was good. It was good. Glad to see Kiera Hogan on TV. It's always weird seeing somebody who was like a champion elsewhere, and then they come over to another product and like...
Yeah, they got to pay their dues again. I know, it sucks too. I'm the same way, especially with Kiera Hogan. She's a phenomenal athlete and a really good wrestler, and what I've seen with her in Impact. And she'll turn that corner. But I think the best part about all of this afterwards was after the match with Ruby Soho running down to the ring and attacking Penelope Ford. Obviously continuing that whole thing, that whole feud from the night before. Like she was ready to take on both her and the bunny after the bunny came out to recover Penelope Ford. So I could see Ruby taking on both of them and Ruby winning.
Yep. No, but I could see her being booked like that at this point. And following that, we had our promo from Adam Page came out, got a pop. Let me tell you, I don't think I've heard cowboy shit said so many times in my life.
I know.
It was quite the it was a good promo. It was a good heartfelt promo, and I think he's leaving Full Gear as the champion.
He better at this point. I mean, seriously. I like the fact that, he explained everything about him going home so that way he could be there for the birth of his child, and how the fans are still with him and stuff like that. Like it was, like you said, it was a very heartfelt, emotional promo. And it's honestly, like the reason for me why Adam Page is still my favorite AEW, I'll say homegrown talent. It's just I enjoy everything that he's done, and I hope that he does win come Full Gear. But I also expect all of the Elite and the Dark Order to come out. So I hope and expect something special out of this championship match.
I think this belt, if and when, again, anything could happen, but like, I can see so many potential shenanigans. Not shenanigans, but like oh no, here come the Good Brothers, but then, now the Dark Order's coming out to make sure, the odds are even.
Yep.
So I can see a lot of this happening during this match, and we might get something really special here.
Part of me is hoping, and I think this would be like not really a fantasy booking style, but the match ends and Dark Order helps Page, keep things square. Page gets the win, then everybody stands in the ring with Page. Page has the title in one hand and the claw up in the other, along with the rest of the Dark Order. I think that would be a beautiful way to end Full Gear, is to have Adam Page fully, brought into the Dark Order.
Mm-hmm. That would be, oh man.
They kind of teased that when they had that 5-on-5 match against the Elite before. So I really hope that this is just the beginning of, telling that story. Because he even talks about how, his, that how he finally opened up his heart and accepted new friends into his life. And then, he wanted to help them as they stuck out their neck for him, and he does it for them. And I'm just like, yes, give me more Dark Order stuff. Come on. Just do it. Just do it. So,
yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that match.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to talk about it now because it's actually ended the show, but they gave us the results for the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament. Well, not the results, the brackets.
Yes.
And the brackets look solid. So starting on Friday and Saturday, we have Preston Vance taking on Jon Moxley and Orange Cassidy taking on Powerhouse Hobbs, which two good, great matches. However, these are the matches I want to see. Lance Archer taking on Eddie Kingston. And Dustin Rhodes taking on Bryan Danielson.
Yes.
That one for me could be a sleeper, like just an incredible bout.
Yes. But before that, we also have that match to talk about with Bryan Danielson and Mr. Bobby Fish.
Yes, which is what I wanted to kind of segue into, since it was just the brackets for the title. Keep in mind, this match closed the show. Wasn't long, but both of these people wrestled bangers the night before.
Yeah, they did.
And not only did they do that, now they wrestled and closed Dynamite on Saturday. Bryan, first and foremost, I'm going to say Bobby Fish, low key. Don't count him out. I don't care about his age. I know in NXT he was injured all the time.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal technical wrestler.
Absolutely.
Great striker. However, Bryan Danielson, I think, has proven more than most other talent who have come over that he is way better. And not that he was bad in the other program. He has put on some of the most incredible singles matches I've seen this year.
Agreed.
And this isn't just like me being, he's in AEW, he's better now. He has a little more freedom to do what he wants. Yeah,
exactly.
But
that's exactly it.
But you're seeing him, like, first and foremost, he had this bout with Kenny Omega. He had the bout with Minoru Suzuki. Even this fight with Bobby Fish was hard. I think every Bryan Danielson match so far, I've put my phone down face down.
Right. So no distractions. Have to watch what's going on. Agreed.
And I can't say that about a lot of talent, but he is just, he doesn't have to win a title. He just needs to keep giving these bangers.
Yeah.
These Meltzer 5-star, 6-star matches, as you would call them.
He's a workhorse anyways, so just let him go to town and let him have fun and let him, make the crowd say yes in multiple languages.
They were saying C down in Miami.
Yeah.
He might have been the underdog in WWE, but here he feels like a god.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, he doesn't feel like, oh, it's the underdog. It's, it's the American Dragon.
Yep.
This is his territory.
Absolutely.
People need to remember, he was an indie wrestler before he was in WWE.
That's right. Yep. Agreed.
And speechless. That's all I'll say, Scott. I'm speechless from this weekend.
It was a good weekend of wrestling.
And also the Sox won 9-5.
I know. They gave me a little bit of heart attack at the end. Like I didn't start Dynamite until this game ended because I dare not change the channel.
Yeah.
So I'm a little sad that Game 3 and Game 4 are on Monday and Tuesday because I will be covering Raw and NXT. But I will definitely have my eye on it. And once the shows are over, I'm going to jump right over to watch the ending of both games, because I need my Sox to take a 3-1 lead in this playoff, in the ALCS. I want another ring. Beantown wants another ring. Give it to us.
Beantown is thirsty, my friends.
Exactly.
But guys, next weekend the fun does not end. Don't forget, we have Rampage on Friday. We have Dynamite and Bound for Glory on Saturday. Scott and I still got to work out the technicalities on that one. So we got a loaded weekend of wrestling. Scott might be covering Rampage for me on Friday because that might be at the movies. I'm not gonna get into it.
Understandable. I get it.
I need the spice, Scott. The spice. That's right. Dune is coming out. I'm a big Dune fan. So, guys, thank you for listening. As always, don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Above the Ring. You can find yourself on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube at Above the Ring. You can find myself as DSB Official and Scott as Scotty J Stream. Do not forget to follow Ship It Studios as well on all streaming platforms, all social media platforms. You can find our brothers over at Back to the Ring as well, on Twitter, all streaming platforms. If there's something we're not on, though, let us know, and we will put ourselves on there. We will do some digging. If you're in the middle of Siberia and there's something we don't know about, please just tell us. We'll make sure you guys can hear us up there in that cold, frozen, I don't want to say wasteland. I don't want to be rude, but you know what I'm talking about. On your streaming platform, please make sure you like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, leave a review, tell people why Ship It Studios, Back to the Ring, and Above the Ring is the podcast of your choosing, and why they should listen to us as well. Thank you for listening. The Friday night fights are not over. Don't forget to ship it. And as always, do not forget to join the Bedlam.